Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, that's... Tower, you're seeing this airplane just crash into you. Oh, my God. Oh, my...
Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Give me a follow on X at green_Jericho. Make sure you give me a follow on Instagram at JGTalk2 and like and subscribe, So you've probably seen that footage before. If you haven't, that was the flight, the Endeavor Air flight in Canada and Toronto, and it came in for landing and didn't work out. The plane went completely upside down, crashed, and fortunately, nobody was killed. Some people were injured, even a kid, but it seems like everybody's going to be okay. No lives are lost. There's video of the people getting off of the plane and being around the wreckage after they got off the plane. So that is great, because normally when you hear about a plane crash, especially one involving fire, lots of, if not all of the people die on that flight. So very thankful that there was no loss of life here, but there are questions swirling around this incident. And I think the most prevalent question is, what was this the result of DEI? Now, how can DEI cause a plane to crash? Well, if you champion diversity, equity, and inclusion above everything else, you're not putting the most qualified people in the positions. You would hear, we've all heard of affirmative action. Well, what they didn't tell you about affirmative action is a lot of the times the kids who got in because of the color of their skin couldn't graduate because they weren't qualified to be there in the first place. So when you put unqualified people into positions they're not prepared for, things can happen depending on what your job is. Now, if you're a painter and you put somebody on a paint job and they're not qualified, you're going to have a bad paint job. No chance of anybody losing their life, but that paint job is going to be pretty shitty. But if you put somebody in a position they're not prepared for, and now you're talking the pilot of an airplane or somebody who's going to be cutting your body open, well, the stakes are a little bit higher and somebody could die. So was this the product of DEI? Were there unqualified pilots put in the cockpit? Well, some might say yes. Some might say that this airline, Endeavor Air, prioritized diversity, equity, and inclusion over some other things. Here is from their website, our most important behaviors. Safety first, always. Okay, we'll see. Place our customers at the center of everything we do. Take ownership and leadership to get the job done. Respect your work colleagues and customers. Promote diversity and inclusion in all aspects of the airline and our operation. Spaghetti-o. There's where we run into a problem. So you see it right there, promote diversity and inclusion in all aspects of the airline and our operation. So did they do that? Did they put some girl bosses in the cockpit who weren't supposed to be there because they didn't meet the qualifications? Well, you might ask yourself, who is the pilot? Great question, because we haven't seen a picture of the pilot. We haven't heard anything about the pilot. And I'm pretty sure if the pilot looked like, if the pilot, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, like women, then his picture would be everywhere. If he was a cisgender white male, we would know everything about him. So it makes you wonder, was it a woman? Was she unqualified? I read reports where it was a girl by the name of, oh man, hold on. Dang it, I thought I would have remembered it without looking it up. But, thank you very much, over 40. What was the girl's name? I'll have to find it. But the woman, the alleged pilot, Now that again, we don't have a picture, we don't have her name from the airline company or anything like that, but it's alleged that the pilot is a 26-year-old young lady. So let's see. And I had it on my phone. Let's see if I can find the article here. Because it said, okay, here we go. So yeah, after the crash of the Delta Connection flight 4819 operated by Endeavour Air on February 17th at Toronto, claims surfaced that the flight was being piloted by Kendall Swanson, a 26-year-old pilot who recently received her flying license. Although the claims remain unconfirmed, social media was rife with posts including details of the FAA report. And I saw that, and it said that the young lady got her pilot's license in January of this year. Said a year ago that she was an instructor for a small propeller aircraft, recently licensed to co-pilot a small jet. So she got her license in January of this year. Yes, let's see. It said pilot flying Delta accident aircraft was brand new. Endeavour Air hired Kendall Swanson. She was likely still on OE training. In parentheses, they have training. It says training. ATP certified 1925. Pilot monitoring on the radios with a senior captain, simulation instructor who rarely flies. So I guess that's who gave her stamp of approval. So yes, there are rumors circulating that it was a young lady who was recently given her pilot's license and she was not qualified. Now, that fuels the speculation of the plane crashing, that she was young, she was inexperienced, and she didn't do something that's called a flare maneuver. It's something that pilots do when they're landing an aircraft when you have crosswinds, because there were crosswinds that were making the plane, that were pushing the plane in certain directions. I have a clip right here. A pilot will explain it much better than me, but that's basically what he's going to tell you, is that by looking at it, in his expert opinion, she didn't do a certain maneuver that's pretty standard when landing an aircraft in these conditions, and that could have contributed to the crash.
That jet was coming down like a turd off a tall moose. Landing an F-18 aboard an aircraft carrier, our average rate of descent is about 800 feet per minute. And I think the last flight tracker data that I saw for this RJ was about 1,100 feet per minute. So that RJ came down a lot faster and harder than I would have landed aboard the boat. And I think, you know, one of the officials yesterday or last night said, hey, crosswind wasn't an issue. Whenever anything like this happens, Megan, I grab my aviation app and I immediately look at the weather, see what the weather is. And landing on runway 23, the winds were out at 270, so about 40 degrees off the nose or down the runway in really gusty conditions. So it looks like this airplane didn't really have too much of a flare, which is when you get close into the runway, we pull the nose back, pull back on the throttles, and kind of do that nice, what we as Navy pilots would say, Air Force landing. But this landing was hard, and it looks like it sheared off the right main landing gear, took the wing with it, and then the only wing that was left, the left wing, still producing lift, they kind of corkscrew and roll down the runway. But my God, you know, we jokingly in aviation say any landing we can walk away from is a good landing. That was a pretty bad landing, and thank God a lot of people walked away.
Yeah, fortunately, everyone did walk away from this flight. Nobody died. Again, now having that information and hearing that from him, I want to play this clip one more time that shows you the crash, and you can see when it touches down, it starts to roll. That's why it pitches to the right, and you see the right side of the plane take all the damage because she didn't do that flare maneuver.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh no 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 no!
Oh no, fuck yeah! Oh fuck yeah! So funny for Canadians, God. And I'm glad that we can laugh at any part of this because nobody died. But especially when you see flames like that, you thought for sure, and I'm sure they did too, watching that, that those people were dead 100%. But you can see that how it pitches and rolls to the right, and the right side of the plane takes all the damage, snaps the wing off and everything, just like the guy said. So DEI can kill. If you put unqualified people in positions they're not qualified to be in, people can lose their lives. Was that the case with this? It sure looks like it. If it's true that that 26-year-old young woman was the pilot and she had just gotten her license last month and she wasn't qualified for that, somebody needs to pay. Did Endeavor Air prioritize DEI over everything else? If so, they need to pay. But of course, you heard about the story. You know about the story. It was in Canada, eh? That's where it happened. Is Trump the president of Canada? Not yet, but you better believe the American mainstream mediocres will find some way to pretzel twist, Game of Twister, Cirque du Soleil, contort their bodies to make it so somehow it's Trump's fault.
I did want to, underscore, to pick up on the conversation you were just having, though, in terms of the recent string of aviation incidents, Tom. This is going to, yet again, raise the concern about FAA staffing, air traffic control staffing. Now, this is a Canadian air traffic control tower, and this is under Canadian authority once it crosses the border. And yet, as you know, there has been this talk about maybe staff cuts at the FAA as a part of President Trump's effort to trim down the federal workforce. And yet, as you also know, the FAA has been complaining for years that they are understaffed in critical job positions, especially air traffic control. I was having a conversation with somebody today about whether air traffic control in America is being affected by the staff cuts. So far, not to their knowledge, and yet other positions related to maintaining critical equipment appear to have been cut. So this is going to feed into all of these recent incidents, and the safety of the total air traffic system is going to be very much a part of the conversation as we go forward, at least on this side of the country, of the border, I should say.
So somehow, because Trump is trimming the fat and they're getting rid of unnecessary positions in the federal government, that played into the lack of air traffic control people that caused this to happen, not the potential fact. We don't know. We don't have all the info yet, but it's pointing at a bunch of DEI hires that were unqualified, but somehow, some way, we're going to pin that to the orange man because that's all they have. Meet me in the comments. What do you think? Does this smell of DEI, or was this pilot qualified? Shit happened. There were elements out there, the wind, the cross winds. It was snowy. It could have happened to anybody. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. But you know how we end these videos with a little bit of what I call good gun. That is where I highlight a story where an American flexes that Second Amendment muscle and gives the bad guy what they so desperately need. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. I'm out.
According to the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, deputies discovered a vehicle sitting in the parking lot of a Greenville Inn and Suites just after 2:30 p.m. That hotel is off South Pleasantburg Drive in Greenville County. We're told that vehicle matched the description of an SUV the Pickens County Sheriff's Office believes was involved in the armed robbery of that gas station earlier this morning. Now, the Greenville County Sheriff's Office says when deputies approached that vehicle, the driver got out while armed with a gun, prompting deputies to fire their weapons. That driver was hit once and taken to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead, according to the Greenville County Coroner's Office.